Hello and welcome to another edition of Conspirator Brock's Pull List. This is my pull list for the week of October 11th, 2017. Really big week this week, so your wallet's going to hate you, but a lot of good stuff coming out this week. So let's get right to it. First up, we have Action Comics number 989. This continues The Oz Effect, Part 3. As you can tell, it's a lenticular cover there. It goes nicely from Jor-El to Superman. Awesome stuff. I can't wait to read it. It's been really good. Next up, we have American Gods number 8. This is the comic book adaptation of Neil Gaiman's American Gods novel. I've enjoyed it so far. It's very slow, but it's very wordy, but it's staying kind of fairly true to the novel. I actually need to reread the novel, specifically the anniversary edition that has more stuff in it. So it's on my bookshelf to read, and hopefully I'll get to it at some point. Next up is a title I'm super stoked to read because it's been amazing, and that's Dark Knight's Metal 3 comes out today. So go ahead and snag that up. It looks pretty awesome with Barbatos. I don't remember how to say it. But Snyder's been doing an awesome job with Metal, and I'm excited to read Metal stuff every week. Next up, we have Detective Comics number 966. This continues A Lonely Place of Living. This is kind of a tie-in to the Oz Effect, but this kind of looks at it from the perspective of all those that Oz captured and held for a while. This issue also has apparently some Connor Kent information in it, so for those of you Connor Kent fans, you may want to snag that up and check it out. I also recommend grabbing the issue prior so you can at least read that story arc. Next up, we have Flash number 32. This is actually the variant cover for Flash. All our copies at Comics Conspiracy were either damaged, and so we didn't have enough for the shelf, but we did have enough for subscribers to get a regular copy of the cover for cover 1. So yeah, but I snagged my variant copy, so I'm going to read that, and when we get replacements in, I will pick up the regular issue of it. Next up is a new book, well, new to physical, but it's been on digital for a little bit, and that is the Gotham City Garage number 1. This is the comic based around the the Gotham City Garage line of statues. Much like Bombshells, this spawned out of a statue line, so I'm curious to see how good it is. It is a digital first, so you can grab those on Comixology. Issue 1 specifically collects chapters 1 and 2, or I like to call issue 1 and 2 of the digital comic. So if you're curious, check it out. Next up, we have Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, number 30. This starts the story arc Mind Games. Really, Hal Jordan's just been really good. I've really enjoyed it. Vendetti has really grown into his writing of Green Lantern, and specifically Hal Jordan. When he was following in the footsteps of Johns, it was a really rough start, but he has improved, and I really like Hal Jordan right now, so check it out. Next up, we have Harbinger Renegade number 8. It's been okay, so I'm going to keep going with it. Harbinger Renegade is not necessarily the best Valiant title I'm reading, but it's not horrible, so I'm going to keep going with it. Most of the Valiant titles seem to not carry for very long, so I'm curious to see how long Harbinger Renegade actually lasts. Next up, we have Justice League of America number 16. This is the variant cover for issue 16. I wasn't a big fan of the regular cover, so this is the one I decided to pick up. But I've been enjoying the stuff with the Microverse and the Search for Ray Palmer and all that. It's great stuff. Next up is another big book this week, specifically from the master writer Tom King, and that's Mr. Miracle, number 3 of 12. The first 2 issues were mind-blowing, so I can't wait to dive into issue 3. But yeah, Mr. Miracle, if you have not had a chance to read it, I highly recommend tracking down a second print of number 1 and getting a copy of number 2. Mr. Miracle specifically, it had its orders for number 1 were okay. Its orders for number 2 and number 3 exceeded orders for number 1. So that's rare that you see a book gain after an issue 1. So congrats to Tom King and yeah, what's his name? Mitch Gerads, Gerads, whatever. Next up, we have a new miniseries from DC, and that's Ragman, 1 of 6. Curious to see what Ray Fox does with Ragman, but I've liked the miniseries so far. They've been either okay or just eh. Yeah, so curious to see what we get from Ragman in this 6-issue mini. Next up, we have Red Hood and the Outlaws, number 15. Bizarro Reborn is the story arc that continues here, and Batwoman makes an appearance in this issue. So we shall see. Red Hood and the Outlaws, okay. It's not, I enjoy it every month, yeah. It's not anywhere near the chopping block, but depending on where it, if it improves or doesn't get any better, it could head towards the chopping block. So, but for now, it's a good read. Next up, we have Jeff Lemire's Royal City, number 6. Really enjoyed the first 5 issues of this book. The first trade is out, so if you have not yet checked out Royal City, I do recommend picking up that first trade. But Jeff Lemire's just done an amazing job with it. I need to read this Essex County book and pick up his other graphic novel. But yeah, I've really enjoyed Royal City so far. So yeah. Next up is Sacred Creatures, number 4. I picked up issue 1 on a whim, read it, liked it, bought it, and just decided to keep going with it. But Sacred Creatures is really I've enjoyed this book immensely. For $4.99, it's thick as shit, so it is a decent read for the amount of money you pay. But I do recommend it to anybody who's curious about picking up something new. But yeah. Next up, we have Scooby Apocalypse 18. Scooby and the gang continue to travel through this world after all of this monster, mutant. Everybody's turned to a monster or a mutant or a creature or whatever. But it's been a fun read. I've really enjoyed Scooby Apocalypse. Yep. Next up, we have Suicide Squad 27. This starts the secret history of Task Force X. Coming off the heels of the Gotham Resistance, I'm curious to see where Suicide Squad goes from there, and if it's a decent transition into a new story arc from something that supposedly ended, Dark Knight's Metal is still going on, but the Suicide Squad is continuing past that, so we shall see. And finally, on my pull list is Wonder Woman 32. Despite the creative team change, I've still enjoyed Wonder Woman. This continues the Children of the Gods story arc. So, yep, but Wonder Woman's good stuff. Did pick up a bunch of variants this week. So, first up is Dark Knight's Metal 3. I picked up the Andy Kubrick one with the Bat Doomsday on there. And of course, Jim Lee did a metal cover, which is fantastic, which is an homage to his Justice League, the New 52 Justice League, number 1. So, yep, couldn't pass that up. Gotham City Garage actually came with 2 covers. One, it was the Harley, and number 2 was the Wonder Woman, which I'm still debating whether or not I want to get that Wonder Woman cycle, but it looks so nice. The statue looks so nice. Next up is Mr. Miracle 3, had a variant cover. You've probably seen this image on your Twitter feed or social media, but yeah, Mr. R just does an amazing job on that. Picked this one up for the cover because technically Suicide Squad's only in 1 panel in this book, and since it crossed over with New Superman, I picked it up. But yeah, don't be fooled. There's Suicide Squad's only in like 1 panel in that whole book and on the cover. That's it. I'm just a sucker for Suicide Squad and Harley, so that's why I picked it up. Suicide Squad 27 had a variant cover there with Harley riding on a dinosaur. It's Will Porcheo. Not the best art. I used to like his stuff, but now I'm not the biggest fan. But it's Suicide Squad, and I'm a sucker. Next up, we have Supergirl 14 for the Art Germ variant there. I just thought it was a nice cover, kind of just more mundane, which was pretty cool. And finally, we have the Wonder Woman variant cover for issue 32. So that's it really for my pull list. I did pick up some graphic novels this week that are out, and I also picked up a special order. The graphic novels I picked up is Animosity Volume 2. The Dragon came out today. I really like Animosity. It's just really interesting read. Margaret Bennett does an amazing job on this book. Her DC Bombshell stuff was okay. It wasn't the best. but I really enjoy her animosity, and I do recommend you check it out. Next up, we have the Overwatch Anthology Volume 1 from Dark Horse. This collects a bunch of the digital stuff from Overwatch, so if you're an Overwatch fan, I highly recommend picking this up. I played a little bit of Overwatch, and I got a couple of I think I downloaded all the Comixology issues, but I like having a nice hardcover of things, so I'm actually going to check this out and read it. But for Overwatch fans, you should definitely check it out. If you are on conspiratorbrock.com and you actually click on the Comixology link on the list, it will take you to the general Overwatch Comixology page where all those issues are free, so you can actually download those for free and read them, and if you like it, you can grab yourself a physical copy of it. Next up for trades, there's two of the same one, but I got them because they're different covers, and that is the Batman Flash, the Button Deluxe Edition. This is the US version of the hardcover. This is a first hardcover lenticular that's out. The back one of this one has, of course, the Reverse Flash being slightly obliterated. The lenticular is not the best on this one as for the single issues, but yeah, what can you do? And then there's the international cover version, which the only thing really that happens on this one is the top logo's changed from Batman Flash, and of course you get the back, which goes from Reverse Flash to the Earth 2 Batman. So yeah, so be on the lookout for those. Yeah, I picked up both because yeah, I'm a sucker. Yep, that's it for that. My special order finally came in. I've actually been seeing this for 3 weeks, but I've had to ship it out every single time, and that is the DC Comics Metal t-shirt right there for you guys. Awesome t-shirt, and it's the tour t-shirt, so it's like a metal concert, so the back has all of the dates and stuff for all the individual issues. Really cool designed shirt for this event that's going on with DC. And we've shipped out a ton of them through Comics Conspiracy. I'll put a link in the description below, so if you're interested in picking one up, go to that link, order it from Comics Conspiracy, and we'll ship it out to you. I've just been packaging up those things like there's no tomorrow. So it's from Graffiti Designs, so if you don't want to order it through Comics Conspiracy, I would recommend going to Graffiti Designs and picking up your own. But man, that shirt is awesome, and if you like metal, you should grab it. It's pretty cool. So that's it for the stuff I brought home. Now it's on to the read list. This is the stuff that I read to stay caught up and current on most stuff, because there's way too much out there. First up, we have the all-new Wolverine number 25. The lenticular cover here is, it looks better on the video, but when you actually look at it, it's really difficult to discern what the difference is from one thing to another. When I'm looking at it like this, it moves way too fast or something, but on video it looks a lot better. I read a handful of issues of the first few issues of All New Wolverine. It was okay, so I'm gonna check it out and see if it's interesting enough. Next up, we have what is this? I don't even know what issue this is. Amazing Spider-Man number 789. Spider-Man returns to the regular numbering on this one. So yeah, the lenticular cover here is not too bad. The font on the lettering does a lot better, going from yellow to black, and the image is fairly close enough to itself that it's not so bad. But it is, again, Amazing Spider-Man. I haven't been reading it. I'll check it out, but we'll see. Next up, we have The Defenders number 6, and if you can see it there, this one does a little bit better or honestly on video, but in like up close it doesn't do it very much justice. It's almost difficult to discern the two different covers from each other, and yeah, the lenticular covers have just not been very good, in the sense of the production. They're too busy, a lot is going on, and so it's not the best. But Defenders has been okay, so I'm going to go continue with it, but I don't remember if I read issue 5. Next up, we have a a book that's returning to legacy numbering, but being titled something different, and that is Despicable Deadpool. This goes to 287, I think. Let me see. Yeah, 287. It's an homage to the Amazing Spider-Man Punisher cover, but the difficult part is so Punisher's shooting Spider-Man there, but he's not supposed to be, and then you change to Punisher, and Punisher's shooting Cable, but it's supposed to be Punisher shooting Spider-Man, not Cable. Like, this one is really not done very well. Yeah, it's just not the best. Just, oof, brutal. I know I've been ragging on these lenticular covers, but the production is very poor on them, and I really wish Marvel had stepped up their game, especially since Legacy is not turning out to be something that's really kind of like Rebirth was, or New 52 was. Legacy is more along the lines of all new, all different, or all new Marvel now, or Marvel now. It's just a branding, marketing ploy that they're doing to boost sales and get people to get these books. Majority of the Marvel books are not changing into something new. They're just continuing with what was already there. So this is kind of like a huge push again to get people into reading stories in the part one of it. But again, I think a lot of stores and a lot of shops and a lot of readers are frustrated at this constant barragement of marketing and gimmicks and stuff like that, and then they're really struggling to get behind Marvel because they want to read about these characters. They want good stories about the characters that they grew up with, the characters that they enjoy, the characters that they were introduced to somehow. But again, new readers coming in, I do not see the appeal here for new readers, considering most of the stuff you're just dropping in within the context of something that's already going on. Next up, we have Hickman's The Dying and the Dead, number 6. Yes, this book has been delayed, but I enjoyed it as it was coming out, so hopefully he keeps pumping it out, because it's not too bad. Alright, next up is a book that hopefully when I put it up to the camera I'll be able to see it, but of all the Legacy covers, this is probably the worst one to hold in your hand and look at. And that is the Falcon number 1, based on the Iron Man cover. Nope, it is seriously that bad. I don't know how to describe it. So I can't get it to just it's like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's an angle thing. Let's try this. Nope. I'm curious to read it because it's Falcon, but again, I don't know if I'm going to continue with Falcon. That is one of the number 1s that have come out from in this Marvel Legacy thing, but is there going to be any interest following the Falcon? Who knows? I'm going to read it and check it out and see if it's any good. But again, I do recommend everybody check out at least the regular cover on these Legacy titles, because the lenticulars are not probably the best thing. Next up is the Wildstorm Michael Cray, issue 1 of 12. This is coming out of the Wildstorm comic that's being released, so I'm curious to see what goes on with the character Michael Cray. Next up we have Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 13. Aphra's just been really fun, really good. Kieran Gillen has done a good job on the book, so I look forward to reading all the Star Wars books every time they come out. Alright, next up is The Uncanny Avengers 28, and this one is a little harsher on the eyes, but it does blend at some point, but again, not necessarily the best use of the lenticular. I will say the hanging people do stay fairly close to where they're supposed to be, but it loses it at some point with a couple of the characters. I haven't been reading Uncanny Avengers. It's going to be canceled along with US Avengers, and I think rolled into something else that's supposed to be the stuff that's coming out of the Avengers No Surrender crossover event that's coming out soon. Yeah, we're not having any big events at Marvel. We're just having a ton of crossover events, little crossover events. And no. Let it breathe, man. Next up we have Weapon X number 9. I've been enjoying Weapon X. Pac's been doing a good job on this, but as with all things Marvel, apparently we're getting a Weapon H mini, continuing, ongoing series. It's a character that just came out in Weapon X off of the heels of Weapons of Mutant Destruction, and Marvel's already trying to market and pump out this thing about a character that in Weapon X they're still hunting down. Like, I don't understand. Let these stories breathe. Let them be told. Let's get it out. Like, pumping out a Weapon H book might not be the best thing right out the gate, especially since Weapon X has only been, what, 9 issues, and it's already had one crossover with Totally Awesome Hulk. I don't know, maybe think about it next year? Let us see Weapon H in the book or in another book, something? I don't know. All right, and finally we have X-Men Gold number 13, an homage to the X-Men number 10, Jim Lee's X-Men number 10 with Mojo. This one actually transitions fairly okay, but Jim Lee art going up against what the artist that they put in there is probably not the best, even though did they just use the same Wolverine? Oh no, they put them at different levels. So they're not lining up the boxes in the back. They don't even match the... Oh my gosh. I stopped reading X-Men Blue, but I'm going to read it because the Mojo World crossover. We'll see. It's X-Men Blue has probably been the weakest of the X-Men books that I've been reading. I like Gold. Astonishing is amazing. But like Jean Grey, Iceman, X-Men Blue, not particularly stuff that I really enjoy. So if you're an X-Men fan, Mojo World, enjoy that crossover. But yeah. So that's it for my pull list. Again, big week. So yeah, get down to your local shop, pick up your books, all that wonderful stuff. Please like, share, and subscribe to this video. Please leave your comments down in the window below. Let me know what you're getting, what you're interested in, all that fun stuff. Appreciate everyone who comments. Again, I try and respond as promptly as I can. I know I have been going off on a Marvel rant as of late with this lenticular covers, but it's really difficult to again see Marvel and what they're doing, especially from a more retailer side, since I work in a comic book store, and just, you know, people coming in, and we didn't sell out, especially Comics Conspiracy, we did not sell out of lenticulars day one. I think a good example is that we ordered a bunch of the lenticulars to get we had to order a bunch of the regular covers to get the lenticulars and the incentives and all of this stuff, which boils down to Marvel math, which bumps their numbers, which makes them look better. But if you look at something like Batman White Knight, we ordered 60 copies and sold out Wednesday of last week. All sold out. Done. White Knight. Done. Gone. Should have ordered more. It's already going to a second print. It's good. You should grab a second print if you did not get a first print. But it's something like that where there was 2 covers. You can open order as much as you want. Stores ordered sparingly because that's how you have to work as a comic store. And it's sold out. So they were not prepared for the demand. Legacy is, let's pump and pump and pump and get your numbers up and up and up and up and up. And for October, we're going to see an increase in Marvel sales. But come November, those are probably going to crash hard. And that's frightening because it's the same thing we had last year with Secret Wars, and it's the same thing we had also the year before with, you know, stuff going on around this time of year with Marvel. And stores are now aware of this and are more aware of this now and more not wanting to get burned and sit on excess stock. Marvel Legacy, especially the Marvel Legacy #1 did not break 300,000 copies, even though Marvel says it did. It probably did, but due to damages and returns and all that stuff, it did not break 200,000 or 300,000 copies. Our store was selling it half off and still making money off of it because of having to get all of the, you know, ordering incentives and variant covers and all that stuff. And we sold a set which paid for a majority of it already, so basically anything we were selling we're okay on. But a lot of the titles don't have something like that. And you see Marvel Legacy is the #1 book from September, but the only other real title in the top 10 for Marvel was Venomverse. Now you're going to see a lot more Marvel books in the top 10 in October, but what does that really translate to when something like Marvel Legacy, we're probably going to be giving it away next year for Free Comic Book Day. like just giving it away. Something like Rebirth went to multiple prints, and sold out of those multiple printings. And they increased in price as the print went on. The first one was $2.99. The subsequent printings, which weren't stapled copies, they were glued copies, they increased in price and people still bought it because it was what people like. They were like super excited about it. So Marvel Legacy itself, I'm curious to see some of the things that are coming out of it. As gimmick, it doesn't work. I really wish Marvel would course correct, and hopefully they will. But I enjoy reading the Star Wars stuff. That stuff's still good. So we'll see. All right. Sorry. Again, I rambled on about Marvel and all their shenanigans. You can hear some more of that if you want on the Comic Conspiracy Podcast, episode 328, where we review New York Comic Con stuff that came out. All that stuff. There'll be a link in the description below for that. You can help me and my fellow conspirators out at www.patreon.com/comicsconspiracy. For as little as $1 a month, you help us with hosting, getting some food sometimes, and giving us some product. So we do appreciate our Patreon backers. Thank you very much for that. You can also help support me personally by clicking on any of the links below. And going through Amazon to buy your stuff, or also going to my eBay store, which I have up, and there's listings currently up there. If you see anything you like, bid on it. Cool. That helps me out directly because 1, I'm purging, and 2, I need the the money. So thank you everyone who watches, and thank you to everybody who does the little bit they can to help out their content people. Content people? Yeah, whatever. You can follow me on Twitter. My handle is @BrockSager. And I need to be getting up a unboxing video of a statue for you guys. I also need to do a couple other things. But for the most part, I think that's about it. Except that I can say I'm super stoked to see Star Wars Last Jedi that comes out in December. I saw the new trailer for it, and good stuff. Next month we get Thor and Justice League, so that'll be great going into November. So I'm really curious to see how December rolls out with Star Wars, because I know tickets already went on sale. So who knows? I've rambled on, and you need to get to other stuff and reading a bunch of comics that came out. So I will see you next week.